Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's broadcast. My name is Sonia Keeve, and I am the CEO and founder of Sisters with a Voice podcast network, where I help entrepreneurs to build, launch, and monetize a podcast in just 30 days. And so today I wanted to talk about 7 lessons I have learned from my first year as a full time entrepreneur. One, I wanted to say that I never imagined that this would be my life. If you had told me just 5 years ago that I would be occupying a space as a full time entrepreneur, I probably would not have believed you. But as I am reflecting and coming up on my very first year as a full time entrepreneur, I wanted to share a couple of lessons that I have learned along my journey in this space. And perhaps you can relate to some of them and definitely drop them in the comments below. And also, if you're catching this live, I want you to just tell me where you're tuning in from because I always love connecting with my audience. And I thought, of course, how appropriate as I'm talking about my lessons in the first year of business. First year as an entrepreneur, I am rocking my t-shirt that I got from April's Franks. And it says, "Yes, honey, I will work for paid invoices." So that was lesson number one, that it's so easy when I first was starting out, of just wanting to do stuff for free because I just wanted to give away all of my information because I just wanted to be helpful. I wanted to be in a space to be able to say, listen, let me just help you because I would want that help from, when I got into the business. But I learned that you cannot give everything away for free. You have to charge for your services. And a lot of times that was hard for me in the beginning, especially with family and friends. I wanted to just give, give, give. But what happens when I switched and became a full time entrepreneur and I did not have the corporate job to support me, I could no longer operate in that space. So I had to learn that number one, you gotta charge for your services and you gotta charge your worth. When I started, I remember charging such low prices for my products and my services, but I found out that I was burning myself out because I was giving away so much and giving all of myself so much that I wasn't enjoying what I was doing and I was depleting my own energy. So once I started to charge my worth, then I got a chance to work with the kind of clients that I really wanted to work with and not feeling like I was pulling teeth. So the first lesson I learned is that yes, you've got to charge your worth. Number two, that there's no quick road to success. All of you out there who are in business and that are successful, I'm sure that you would agree that where you are today, your success in your business, it wasn't overnight. I remember, working with coaches or seeing social media posts and seeing work with me and learn how to earn your first 10K in business. And it took me a while to understand that many of those coaches and consultants that said, you can make 10K in 30 days, they didn't tell me that it took 10 years before they made their first 10K. And so I had to learn and navigate that to understand that everybody's road is different, and that you cannot compare your year one to someone's year 10. Where they got, it took some time. For many, it took years, and it wasn't overnight. And so, being in this space as a full time entrepreneur, is that I had to learn that there wasn't going to be that instant gratification that I was accustomed to when I worked in corporate America. See, I could depend upon every year having that merit review where my boss would go over all of the good things that I did in that year and then expecting to get that raise um, as part of my overall review. But now I'm the boss. And there are days, there have been days, months that I didn't make any money in my business. And it was discouraging. And there were days I wanted to quit, and there were days I wanted to give up. But then I had to remember why I wanted to be in this space. And I wanted to be in this space as a full time entrepreneur because I wanted to have more time to give and offer solutions to people out there who really desire to want to start a podcast, and that they just didn't have good coaches, they didn't have good consultants, they didn't have a good roadmap. And so that's what I brought to the table, because I know, and speaking to so many people that have wanted to start a podcast, they have told me that they worked with somebody who kind of left them hanging, or they didn't give them all the right information, or when they got stuck in a certain particular place with their podcast, they didn't have the resources to help them. And I wanted to be that go-to source for someone to be able to have their questions answered, to be able to walk them through the roadblocks so that they could successfully launch. So I had to understand that, there's no quick road to success. Lesson number 3, I heard it yesterday on a live panel discussion where the young lady said, content is king, but consistency is queen. And the third lesson that I've learned in my first year is that consistency is queen. That as an entrepreneur, you got to be the one showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're not feeling good, even when you're frustrated and nobody's, paying attention to you or buying your products or service. You've got to dig into that why. You've got to dig into, why did you want to be in this space? Why did you want to be in this industry? Why did you want to say you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Because let me tell you something, just saying I'm an entrepreneur is not some cute or cliche term to say. It takes everything you've got. And I've had to learn that even in days when I didn't feel like it, I was showing up on social media. I was posting. I was networking every day. I was connecting to someone every day. Even if it was one person, that meant I connected with someone. I was able to share my story with somebody. I was able to offer my services to someone, but I had to show up all the time, even when I didn't feel like it. Like in the corporate space, it was like you worked 40 hours a week, and most jobs didn't want you to work overtime because they didn't want to have to pay you overtime. Well, I learned that in this space, sometimes you're working 7 days a week. Sometimes you're working 7 days a week. And that's the fourth lesson, is learning to balance your time as an entrepreneur to your family time, because sometimes it bleeds over. And there were times where I look up and I'm getting a client call, or I'm, posting about a service that I have, or something that's going on in my business. And sometimes that time would bleed over into family time. And so I had to manage my time and be mindful. And let me tell you something, there were days when my family would say, hey, You said we would watch this movie or we would spend time together. And sometimes I had to learn to put the, turn the phone over, shut the computer down, um, so that, that time wasn't bleeding over. Sometimes I don't always get it right. I still struggle with that at times, but I learn to recognize as I go along, what I'm doing. Lesson number 5, surrounding yourself with a great support system. I cannot tell you how instrumental that has been for me, because there have been many days when I was extremely frustrated. I was questioning my worth. I was questioning if I was really supposed to be an entrepreneur. Um, was I, I had all these questions, right? I had all these questions, and my support system has been instrumental. I don't have a very big circle. I have a very intimate circle of people that I truly lean on. My family definitely comes first, and then I lean on to my accountability circle. Um, you all know as the Fab Five. I really lean into those ladies. We lean into one another. We support one another. And it's so important to have a support system, because you need that to let off steam. You need that to have people make you accountable, to make sure you follow through with the things that you said that you were going to do, to encourage you, to inspire you, to uplift you. And they have been that for me. My family has been that for me. Um, Lesson number 6, keeping a schedule. It's so easy when you're now working for yourself, you're not punching a clock, or me having to, key into my computer into my timesheet. So I had to make sure that I still maintained a schedule, because I could not afford to sit and watch Netflix or watch television if I haven't made a client sale. That's what I needed to be focusing on. And so there were days, if I wasn't, if I hadn't made a client sale or if I hadn't made a new connection, that's what I was focused on, what I could do to continue to move the business forward. And so I had to learn to keep a schedule. And so even with keeping that schedule, I also made sure I dressed for work. I didn't want to just be working in my pajamas, or, I would make sure that I would get dressed. Now, I will say, most days I might have on a t-shirt and some pants or leggings. But then there were days when I wanted to just dress up. I wanted to put on a dress. I wanted to wear makeup, because I just wanted to feel different. I just wanted to feel purposeful. And sometimes for me, that helped me to get into the mode of, okay, I need to work today. I've got projects that I need to complete. And that's what, so having a schedule, that's what really helped me. And lesson 7, understanding that in this journey, it's going to get harder before it gets better. And so it's the whole idea of never despising your small beginnings. Even when you're starting off from scratch, know that it's going to be tough, it's going to be challenging, and there are going to be a lot of hard times, hard nights, hard days. But then I always remember my why, and I just tell myself it'll get better. A client will sign. I'll make a new connection. I'll get a speaking engagement. I'll, have a new guest on my podcast show. And I just keep operating in that space, because that's what I needed. And so as I am coming up on my first year as a full-time entrepreneur, there's still so many lessons that I'm learning. And I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for the support system that I have. And I am grateful for how the business has grown from where I began. And I'm excited to be in this space. And the thing about it is, there's really no other place I'd rather be. I love the work that I do. I love helping women and men start podcast shows. I love seeing the transformation that they get when they work with me. And so I just want to put in this plug that if you're someone out there that says, I'm really ready to start a podcast, we've got several programs here at Sisters with the Voice Podcast Network. We've got, you can launch your podcast in 30 days. And we just launched our brand new VIP Podcast Accelerator program. And so you could learn to launch your podcast in one day. And so if you want to work with me and learn how to launch your very powerful podcast, I want you to email me or go to my website at soniakeeve.com. You can connect with me, get on a call, and let's see how we can help you. But I hope that this message inspires entrepreneurs out there and aspiring entrepreneurs. We're all in this together. We're all figuring things out. But I just know that if you are truly true and authentic to yourself and you really understand your why you're in this space, you'll continue to love the work that you do. And even in the times when it gets hard, you'll be reminded of your why. And I just wanted to just share kind of my 7 lessons that I've learned from being a full-time entrepreneur for 1 year. And may I continue to have success. May this business continue to grow. And may you all continue to be inspired wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sonia Keeve, Sisters with the Voice Podcast Network, helping women and men every day to build, launch, and monetize a podcast in just 30 days. Take care, and I'll see you next time.